Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the Crow Stitcher here on YouTube and Instagram. Welcome. That's Xena. She got a bark box yesterday. Do you want to show everyone your skelly? Xena baby, come here. She got a bark box yesterday, and do you want to show everyone your skelly? Okay. She got this skeleton and it ate candy. Look at that. And she loves it. This is her new favorite thing. There you go, baby girl. Okay. So if you hear squeaks, that's what it is. So welcome everyone. This is a Flosstube Extra where I'm going to go over my 2025 plans that aren't too planny. So what I mean by that is my brain doesn't do well with you must work on this. I don't like that. I've tried it. I've tried multiple things and it didn't work out well. So what I decided to do was instead of make plans but give myself choices and leeway in the said plans. So I'm going to continue with the clue game because I absolutely love that. I've loved finding the murderer and keeping track of the number of times each person was the murderer and all that fun. I love it. It's fun. So even though there is a specific whip that is chosen that I have to work on, the game makes it fun and my brain doesn't mind working on that piece. So I'm going to continue with the clue game. For anyone who is new and is unsure what I'm talking about with the clue game, I started this maybe a month or so ago. And what I did is I have 3 envelopes, one with people, one with weapons, and one with rooms. The rooms are whips. And so what I do is I have all the people and the weapons, like Clue, the game, or if you've watched the movie, right? I have Miss Scarlet, I have Colonel Mustard, etc. And then each of the people have a set number of stitches from 50 to 300, so every 50 stitches. There are 6 people total. And then I did the same with the weapons. And again, the weapons are taken from the game / movie. The lead pipe, candlestick, I almost dropped everything, etc. all the way through. And then the rooms, like I said, are whips. So I made cards of six whips. And so what Dar does is he picks a person, a room, and a weapon, and does not tell me what they are. And then all those cards go. He puts all the cards back in the envelopes, so I don't know what he picked. And then I go and I pull a room, a weapon, and a person, and I ask him, was it Colonel Mustard in Winter Wonderland with the lead pipe? If nothing's right, he tells me no, and then I know to put those in my extra. So they do not go back in these envelopes; they go in the extra envelope. If I have something right, he has to tell me. If there are 2 things right, he can only tell me one thing. So let's say Colonel Mustard and Winter Wonderland were both correct. He can only tell me one of those things. So because he can only tell me one thing, I put let's see, he told me Colonel Mustard. I would put Winter Wonderland and the lead pipe back in these envelopes to be picked again. Because they could be right. I don't know. Because he can only tell me one thing. And I just keep going until I find the murderer, the weapon, and the room. And so what I do is the murderer, I add the person, I add the stitches for the person and the weapon, and that's the number of stitches I stitch on the project, on the room. So I'm going to continue with that because I've been really enjoying that. It's really fun. However, I've decided to add a little something, something. So what I'm going to do is I have divided my whips into 6 categories. I have legacy full coverages, and again, for anyone who's new, legacy, I have over 100 whips at the moment and over 200 projects cataloged so far that I want to start. So legacy whips are whips that I want to finish in my lifetime to leave behind. So I have legacy full coverage, legacy non-full coverage, regular, so just anything else that if I finish it, it's great. If I don't finish it, no biggie. Regular full coverages and regular non-full coverages. Then I have priority legacy whips, which are the legacy full coverages that I want to finish first. And then finish hopefuls, because quite frankly, if I say I want to finish something in like next year, I'm not going to finish it, because again, it's that I have to work on it and I don't like that. So I have finish hopefuls, which are, I'm going to work on them to finish them, and I hope I get them finished, but it's not like I must get this finished in 2025. See what I did there? So then I assigned each of those categories to a murderer, to a person. So Mrs. Peacock is finish hopefuls. Mr. Green is legacy full coverage. Mrs. White is priority legacy. Miss Scarlet is legacy non-full coverage. Professor Plum, I can't pronounce that correctly. Professor Plum is regular full coverage, and Colonel Mustard is regular non-full coverage. So what's going to happen is when I find a murderer, when I get it right and I find, I solve the mystery and I find the person, the room, and the weapon, whoever the person was, so let's say, actually, I can use this as an example because I just solved one yesterday. So yesterday I solved my next one, and it was Miss Scarlet with the knife in Moonlight Crop. So Miss Scarlet is the legacy non-full coverage category. So I will go, and anything that is in that category, I will choose a whip from that category to work on and put 1,000 stitches in. So it's giving me a category, but I pick the whip. So I can choose from any of the whips I have in my legacy non-full coverage category, which is a lot. Make sense? But then I decided I don't want to just keep, I wanted to get some way to rotate whips into the clue game and out of the clue game. I don't want to just keep the same 6 whips all year because I will get bored. So anytime I'm going to keep track, and anytime a whip gets a total of 5,000 stitches from the clue game, I'm going to get my big ol', I put, remember these cards? I just put everything in one bin, and I'm going to pick out of here, and whatever I pick will replace the whip that got 5,000 stitches. So, again, using, what did I just say? Using the one I just solved as an example, Scarlet with the knife in Moonlight Crop. So let's say that when I work on that one, Moonlight Crop will get its 5,000 stitches. It's not going to, but let's say it did. Then I will put Moonlight Crop away. I will come in here and I will pick a whip, and that will replace Moonlight Crop. So then whatever that is, let's do an example. Let's say I pick this one, Together We Are Magic. That would replace Moonlight Crop in the clue game. So that's the clue game plan for next year. I might actually start it now because I'm doing clue already. So, you know, it is what it is. The deer sighting. I talked about last time how I had been doing one piece every time I saw the deer, and okay, so a lot of people do, a rainy day project. So every time it rains, they work on the same project, and do so many stitches, whatever it is, 100 stitches, 200 stitches, whatever. But I don't like that, because we just had, like, I think it was 2.5 weeks of it rained every day. And now, since then, it's been sunny every single day. So, like, I don't want to work on the project. I didn't want to work on the project for, 14 days straight and then not touch it again for, my brain doesn't like that. So we live at the base of a mountain, and we get a lot of wild animals, but we see deer regularly throughout the year. A lot of the animals, like the bear, for example, we only see certain times of the year. But the deer are pretty regular all throughout the year, and it'll be, I'll see them 2 or 3 days in a row, and then maybe not for a day or two, and then again. So, and it's like that all year round. So, I decided to work on a project every time I saw the deer. However, again, my brain, I'm trying to find my wheel, because this is going to come into play here in a second. My brain did not like and I talked about this in my last Flosstube, my brain did not like you must work on this project today. And I had to work on it that day, because if I didn't and I saw the deer the next day, then I would have to double it up. And I used my stitch count wheel. So every time I saw the deer, I would spin the wheel, and it would, whatever it landed on, between 300 and 500 is what I would stitch on for that day. So let's say it landed on 500 and I didn't work on it a day, and then I saw them again the next day, and it spun another 500, then I would have to do 1,000. And so, again, my brain just didn't like that. So, but I like the idea of seeing something in nature to inspire working on a project. So, I'm all about choices for next year. So I decided I will still spin the wheel. So I will still spin my wheel. For example, I saw them today. So I still spun, I didn't, but I will use this as an example. I saw a buck this morning when I let Xena out. So I will spin the wheel, and let's say it landed on 500, because that's what it's pointing on at the moment. Instead of one project, I went through my whips and went through, picked things that were foresty or had a deer or just reminded me of, woodland animals, things like that. And I'm probably going to add more, but I went through and just picked 5 to start off with. So I have Deer and Bird, which is the one I was working on before. Mystical Forest, which is from the Cross Stitch Studio, and it will be a new start. Festive Reindeer, which is from Cross Stitch for Everyone. That will also be a new start. Nordic Goddess is from I don't remember. And then I can show you, though. I can show you that one really quick, because I have it right here. Nordic Goddess. A Tiny Modernist. I don't know why See, now the PDF is titled Nordic Goddess, but then the picture says Yule Goddess, so I don't know really what the actual. But she looks like this. And so because it is woodlandy and she's wearing the antlers, and then Midwinter Mush Gloom, I can also show you really quick. This is from Noctiflora. And it's it's like a cyclops mushroom that has antlers in a forest. So I have those 5. So I saw the deer today, and let's say again that I spun 500. Then I can pick from one of those 5 whips. So let's say today I feel like working on Nordic Goddess. I'll put 500 stitches in on that. Let's say tomorrow I see the deer, and I spin the wheel and say it lands on 300, and I feel like starting Mystical Forest. I'll put 300 on that. So I still work on a piece for the deer, but I have a choice between which of the deer sighting pieces to work on. So it's not a set, you must work on this piece. Okay. Then I started this last time too, and I shared, I kind of took the idea, a number, this is not a new idea. A lot of people do this or something similar. I made a wheel with a bunch of spooky, goth, Halloween, Samhain themed words. And I spin, this is not going to count because I already spun it, but I spin the wheel and it landed on Shiver. So I take Shiver and I find a project that fits each of the letters. So S, it can either be the project in the project title. So let's say Soul of a Dragon. It can be in the artist name, or it can be something in the piece, right? So I don't know, Snowflake or something, right? Something that begins with S that's in the piece itself. And I work on those pieces. So I again, the wheel chooses the word for me, but I pick the pieces that I feel I'm working that match up with each letter. And so far I've just been stitching on whatever like how many stitches I want, but I think I'm going to spin next year. I'm going to spin the wheel, my stitch count wheel again. So let's say I pick Soul of a Dragon to work on for S. I'll spin the wheel, and let's say it gets 500 stitches. I will put 500 stitches into Soul of a Dragon. I've been doing it so far. I've just been stitching on it till I feel like stopping. But I'm gonna put that on there. Put this wheel spin. I'm gonna give it a try with the wheel spin and see how I like it. If I don't, I'll just go back to stitching whatever I want on it. But I'm doing something. I'm gonna start doing something next year, extra fun for the words. So every time I complete a word, I get a bobbin. And I used to use bobbins. I don't use bobbins anymore. So I have this vintage tin full of bobbins. And so what I'm going to do is every time I complete a word, let's say I did all the whips and I completed Shiver, I get a bobbin. And the bobbin is going to equate to $1. $1. So every time I finish a word, I get a bobbin. And my bobbin go in a separate bin, which I don't have yet, but let's, pretend I have the separate bin. And let's say, I've finished 5 words and I have 2, 3, 4, 5 bobbins. So that equates to $5. And let's say there's a pattern that I want that's $5. I'll spend my bobbins, and I'll take all these bobbins out of their bin, 5 bobbins, and I'll put them back in, the big one, and I'll buy that pattern. Let's say I have, 10 bobbins, and there's a pattern that only costs, $7. I'll take 7 out, put the 7 back in, and then I'll still have 3 bobbins left that I've earned. So it's like a little currency to help me earn, right? Because I'm finishing the words to get the bobbins, but then also help me not purchase quite as much. Like I have to earn before I can purchase another chart or another pattern. It will also help me. Okay, pattern collecting is its own hobby. Like, let's just, we're going to admit that, right? It's its own hobby. So, I don't know. It's different. It's different. I have a lot of patterns that I know I won't stitch, but I love the pattern and I love the image. And so, it was either on sale or whatever, and I still got it because I collect them. However, I am also trying to spend less. We're trying to save money to pay off the house sooner, to save money, excuse me, on the interest in the long run, right? So I'm trying to spend less and really be conscious of what I purchase. Now, I did just buy like more unconventional X stitch charts than I will ever stitch in my lifetime, but that was that was a situation because of the fire and all that. However, but this way I feel like I earned my currency, I earned my bobbins through making progress on pieces I already have, and I'll still be able to add to my collection, to my hoard, but be more conscious and I don't know what word I'm looking for about it. Mindful about it, right? So I'm not saying I'm not going to purchase anything. I'm just saying I have to earn my purchases through my bobbins by completing the words. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to do that. So that's not really a different plan than what I'm doing now, other than I'm adding in earning the bobbins, right? And then I'm going to continue with my Kit It Up project, which is, again, helping me earn a pattern, earn a chart, by working on a whip or a piece I already have. So if you've seen my previous videos, let me, 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my board. Okay, so it's easier to explain it with the board. So I got this idea from Sisky Stitches, and so I found a pattern that I want for his friend, and it has 96 colors. So each color gets a box, and each box is 100 stitches. So every time I do 100 stitches on it, and I round down, I'm not one to do keep track and do an even number. So if I do 123 stitches, I round down and I check off only one box for 100. Then the pattern costs $13. I round it up. And so that gets 13 boxes of 100 each. And fabric, I round it up, and that gets 29 boxes of 100 stitches each. So I picked literature that is a whip I have to work on to earn this piece. So every time I get 100 stitches on literature, I check off a box. And once I have all the boxes checked off, I can then purchase Forest Friend. So I'm going to continue with this next year. And then what I'll do is when I finish this and earn my Forest Friend piece, I'll then pick a new piece that I want to purchase and a new project to work on and make another board. So I'll continue with that because I'm really enjoying that as well. And again, it's not you have to work on this a certain day or do a certain number of stitches. It's whenever I feel like working on that piece, I take it out and let's say I do 400 stitches. I'll check off four boxes. Let's say I only felt like doing 200. I'll check off 2 boxes. So there's not a set, you have to do this a certain time, a certain day. It's whenever I feel like working on that piece, I pull it out and I'm earning something in the process. So I'll continue that. Then new starts. Anyone who's been following me for a while knows that I love my new starts. They make me happy. They make my brain happy. However, like I said, I currently have 100. That should be 100. I have to double check that. I think I have 100 even actual whips that I have started, and I have 222 total projects, including whips and new starts, that I have cataloged. There are still some that I haven't gone through. So, I love my new starts, but also, you know, it's getting a bit much. Like, even I'm starting to be like, you might wanna hold back a little bit. So I thought about doing no new starts next year, aside from, okay, so I have already planned to do a New Year new start with Tanya from Stitching Addicted, and also a new start in August with Tanya from Stitching Addicted. So that's 2 new starts that I already have planned, and I'm not going to change that. So I had thought of, okay, well, I have those 2 new starts planned. How about no other new starts for the rest of the year other than those 2? And then I went, no, I'm just setting myself up for failure with that. I know I'm just setting myself up for failure with that. There's no way I will only be able to start 2 projects in an entire year. No way. So I thought, okay, let's be a little bit more realistic. Let's put a cap on the number of full starts. Full starts? New starts. Let's put a cap on the total number of new starts for the year. So 15. My brain likes 15. It's a nice number for my brain. Including the 2 I already have planned. But then I thought, okay, well, that's not really, like, because a full coverage new start and a non-full coverage new start are completely different things, right? A full coverage new start is, much bigger undertaking than a non-full coverage, right? A non-full coverage, I have, there's at least more of a chance I'll get it finished before I die. So I thought, okay, well, I am mostly a full coverage stitcher. If you've been around my channel a while, you'll know that, yeah, most of the things I stitch are full coverages. I do have others that aren't full coverage, but I'm primarily drawn to full coverages. That's my jam. So I decided to put it, and both of the new starts I'm doing with Tanya are full coverages. So I decided, okay, why don't I make my cap of 15 full coverage new starts? So I can only start 15 new coverage. God, I can't. Try this again. I can only start 15 full coverages for the year. And that includes the 2 I'm stitching with Tanya. So after those 2 planned ones, I have 13 full coverages that I can start next year. My choice, whatever they may be. I definitely have more than 13 in my hoard, so it's not going to be a problem. But then I thought, okay, well, what about the non-full coverages? Like, you know, there are still some that I want to start. So I decided that in addition to the 15 full coverages that I can start next year, I can start non-full coverages if I finish a non-full coverage. So let's say, for example, I finished the Midwinter Mush Gloom that I showed you earlier. That's a small piece. And it's one of my deer sighting pieces. So it likely will be up for a finish. Either, I'm not going to say this year, but let's say I finish it next year. I can then start another non-full coverage piece in its place, to put in its place. But I can't start a new non-full coverage unless I finish one. Make sense? So I'll still get new starts in both full coverage and non-full coverage. There is a cap of 15 total of the full coverages. So I need to pace myself. I can't be like, ooh, I want to start that. Ooh, I want to start that. And then, March comes around and I've already started my 15 for the year. I need to be smart about this. So I need to pace myself. I'll probably do a birthday news start. My birthday's in March, so that'll probably be a full coverage. Maybe something for Samhain, maybe something for you, like some of the Stabbits, things like that are kind of spread out about the year. And then I can do a new start for any non-full coverage if I finish a non-full coverage. So those are my plans for 2025. Some of those I'm going to start now, like the clue game with the Xena. I just lost. Some of them I'm going to start now, like the earning the bobbins, I'll start now. The clue game with whoever is the murderer, I'll pick a whip from their hide, maybe. Oh, you showing your... She got this in her bark. Yeah, okay. She got this candy corn in her bark box yesterday, too. Isn't that the most adorable thing? Do you want to come say hi to the peoples? Or do you want me to throw your candy corn? Do you want me to come say hi? Come say hi to the people. Say hi, Xena. Okay, there's my Xena girl. She just wants her candy corn, really. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me throw it. Okay, so yeah, earning the bobbins, I'll start now. I still have to go through and sort everything into categories. So I probably won't start the clue yet. I'll probably wait for the clue adding the category for the murderer until at least I have them sorted. So it might be before 2025, but it's not going to be right now because I still have to go through and sort everything. And I want to make a spreadsheet or in Notion. I want to put it up in Notion. That'll probably be the best to like have the categories and then the whips in that category. I don't even remember. See, I just talked about all my plans, and now I don't even remember. The deer sighting piece, I'll probably start now, because, like I said, I already had that sort of on the go, um, and I just stopped it because I didn't want to work on that same piece over and over and over and over again. So because I now have the options, I'll probably start that and do that now. And then everything else will be started either in the new like the new starts issue will be next year. That will start in 2025. Um, but then everything else will either start in 2025 or beforehand if I get it ready. So basically, my plans are just a continuation of what I already have going, just adding a little bit onto it and making it work a bit more for me. Um, so yeah, if you have plans for 2025 Stitchy plans, please feel free to share them below. I know we like to get ideas from each other. So that's great. So feel free to share. If you like anything that I'm doing, again, please feel free to use it, adapt it for what works for you. Um, there are a lot of ideas that you can expand and adapt for yourself from many stitchers across the community. And I'm starting to hear people say, oh, well, I'm going to put up my 2025 plans, or I have seen some already up. So there will be a lot kind of now-ish um, from the community, so that if you're still kind of unsure, you're trying to find something to work for you, definitely watch people's plans videos. You might get an idea that just kind of sparks in your brain and goes, oh yeah, I could tweak this a little bit and make it for me. So that is that. I will be back with a regular floss tube. What is today? Oh, I didn't even say what day it is. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. So I'll probably be back. I'm going to try to put a regular floss tube up this weekend, maybe like Friday or Saturday. So in a few days, couple days ish. So stay tuned for that. And again, feel free to share anything that you have planned for 2025. And I'll see you next time. Happy stitching.